39-yard line. 34 minutes exactly to go here in the first half. We have no score from Memorial Stadium in Berkeley, California. Connecticut 0, University of California Berkeley 0. Harold Darak along with Jeff Hood of the Connecticut Daily Campus. Cal Berkeley controlling the ball. This is Eric Sickerl. Sickerl sending the ball up to a breaking teammate, but the Huskies break up the play. It's Eddie Lynch sending it over to Tim Maisley, and Maisley bringing it up to Graziano Cornolo, and the Connecticut Blue will bring it back the other way. Cornolo up to DeBrito. DeBrito trying to pass to Carlos. The ball stolen by Ron Hansen. Not a very good pass by DeBrito. The ball now rolling loose and free. Goes over the touchline. Let's see who touched it last. It's going to be a ruled Connecticut ball. Eddie Lynch quickly sends it into play. Elvis Comrie with a nice footwork trying to get around one Cal Berkeley player, but there's going to be a push call on the play, and Connecticut will have a direct kick, this one about 25 yards out of the goal from the right side, entering the attacking third of the field. Charlie McSpirit getting ready to start this up. McSpirit sends out a pass to the right side for Carlos. Centering pass, but it goes over everybody and everything as it goes over the goal, and Carlos just hit it off the edge of his foot. And Connecticut loses a chance to put the ball in the net, and there will be a goal kick for California Berkeley.
It wasn't much of a chance, but that was the closest that the Huskies have gotten to pressuring the Cal Berkeley defense. Wide centering pass by Carlos up and over everything, and have a goal kick now by Henry Folk, the goalie.
And Cal Berkeley with a 4-4-2. That's 4 backs, 4 midfielders, and only 2 forwards or 2 strikers. And they're really concentrating on the defense here today, and not much on the offense, even though the Huskies have been playing very good defense. That could be one of the reasons why, but their offense has been something to be desired. And right now we have a trip by Brian Babini as he tripped Charlie McSpirit as he was going for the ball, and Babini will get called for the foul. And the Huskies will take a direct kick, but they're about 100 yards away from the Cal Berkeley goal. And McSpirit sends it back to Jim Renahan, and Renahan will start up the offense in his goal position right in front of the Connecticut goal. Renahan outlets the ball to John Brubaker. Brubaker sends a pass upfield, and there's not any Husky there to gather it in. It's going to roll over the touchline, and Ron Hansen will have a throw-in, and he throws it all the way back to goalie Henry Folk. And Folk will start up his offense for Cal Berkeley.
We're about 15 minutes into the game already, Harold, and it's pretty boring.
It has been a very boring game. Nothing really to be cheering about. Both teams really not controlling the ball to the best of their abilities. The Huskies not getting anything started on offense. Neither is Cal Berkeley. It's a very defensive-minded game so far. Cal Berkeley controlling the ball now. Dave Gustafson has it, and he sends a left-footed kick upfield for a teammate. But right there is John Brubaker. Brubaker breaks it up, and Charlie McSpirit comes up with the ball. McSpirit again on another steal. He had the ball stolen from him, and he passes up to Graziano Cornolo. Cornolo sends the ball loose up front, and coming up with is Pedro DeBrito. DeBrito around one Cal Berkeley player. Coming into the penalty area is Charlie McSpirit. McSpirit entering the attacking third over to Jimmy Lyman. Broken up nicely by a Cal Berkeley player. And sent all the way back, but John Brubaker keeps it into the Husky zone, and Elvis Comrie has it sending a pass to the right side for Pedro DeBrito, but stolen by Matt McPhee. And problems for the Huskies on the offense again. There's going to be a push called on Eric Myron as Myron gathered in the ball. But a push beforehand, and Cal Berkeley will take over the ball with the offense in their own zone, right around the mid-third of the field. And getting set to check into the game is Bill Maroney. Maroney hopefully going to settle down the Husky offense and start up some plays from the midfield position. We'll see what happens. Maroney was a good influence the first game of the season versus St. Louis when he came off the bench to help tie and eventually win the game on his goal. He has 2 game-winning goals this season. Huskies controlling the ball. Carlos. A nice back pass to Jimmy Lyman. Give and go back to Carlos. Carlos on the left side in the middle for Graziano Cornolo. Broken up nicely by Sickerl. And it's loose in front, and Cal Berkeley will take control of the ball. This is Mark Delaray. Delaray sending it up on the right side for a breaking teammate, but there's no one there, and Charlie McSpirit takes it in for the Huskies and sends it back to Jimmy Renahan. The Huskies' offense started to look like it might wake up pretty soon. They've gathered some nice passes right around the penalty area, but no finishing touches as they really haven't even been able to get a shot off.
They're starting to control the game a little bit more now. They're going to the short passes, adjusting a little bit to the narrow field by 8 yards. Still, the Cal Berkeley defense has been able to collapse in the center and pretty much tie things up for UConn.
Graziano Cornolo gets called for a hold, and sending the ball into play is Eric Kapelke. And Kapelke sends it up for a teammate who takes a shot. And coming up with a nice easy save is Jim Renahan, and the Huskies have the ball the other way. Coming up with the ball is Elvis Comrie. Comrie sending it up for a teammate, but it's quickly stolen by number 14, Mark Delaray, and Cal Berkeley again controlling the ball and holding the Husky offense intact. Kapelke with it now, passing on the left side for Another teammate who quickly gives it back to Kapelke, but Kapelke misses the ball completely as Charlie McSpirit comes up with a steal, and he sends it back to running in again. The Husky offense will try to start something up. This is Elvis Carmer having the ball thrown right over his head, and Pedro DeBrito gathers it in for the Huskies. DeBrito breaking on the left side, man-to-man with Eric Sickerell. DeBrito's almost fell in the penalty area. Let's see if they're going to call a whistle. DeBrito's down on the ground. Let's see if they do call the whistle. It will be a penalty kick. Let's see what they're going to call.
DeBrito going around the left side, trying to turn the corner on the Cal Berkeley defense, was tripped up in the penalty area.
And I believe
it's going to be a direct kick.
I believe it's going to be indirect kick because it's in the penalty area and they're not calling a goal kick. And there's 4 Cal Berkeley players lining up. And I believe Huskies trying to set up some offense and trying to set up a play. This will be DeBrito or Lyman taking the ball. DeBrito sends it for Lyman, shot and goal over everything. And the Huskies with their best opportunity so far in the day. And we did not even catch that call.
A little bit of obstruction.
Obstruction calls, we are now told, on the Cal Berkeley team. Huskies with the indirect kick in the penalty area, but they could not put the ball in there. 28 minutes and 2 seconds to go here in the first half, and it's a 0-0 ball game. In the first substitution, Bill Maroney checking in, and Eddie Lynch taking a seat, and also Jim Dorsano coming into the game, and we'll see who he's going to be replacing.
Long kick by Falk to the UConn 40-yard line, about a 50 to 60-yard free kick there. Goal kick.
Dorsano checking in for Elvis Comrie on the play. Connecticut controlling the ball. Jim Dorsano up to her for Carlos, but the ball is kicked back into the Husky zone by a Cal Berkeley defender, and Jimmy Lyman gathers in. Lyman up to Graciano Cornolo. Cornolo back to Lyman. Lyman can't control the ball, and again it's stolen by California Berkeley. Controlling it, Dan Martin. Martin has the ball stolen by the Huskies. With it now, Eric Myron. Myron over to Tim Maisley. Maisley up to DeBrito, and DeBrito over to Jimmy Lyman. And DeBrito getting ready to get the ball back again, but he's a nice sliding tackle by Eric Sickerell. And it goes over the touchline, and the Huskies will have a throw, and this will be Tim Maisley.
Cal Berkeley playing very aggressive defense, not allowing the Huskies anything that they don't deserve.
And Maisley throws
work for everything.
Maisley throws the ball into Jimmy Lyman. Lyman sending it in for Jim Dorsano deep. The ball goes over the touchline. Last touch by Mark Robeson, who made a nice play to break up the pass. Goes over the touchline, and Billy Maroney will have a throw in. Maroney in for Carlos. Carlos entering the penalty area over to Graciano Cornolo. Shot and goal, and he goes wide to the right. Now Graciano Cornolo coming up with a nice play. He went around 2 California Berkeley players, but his shot was just wide to the right. And still a scoreless game as Cal Berkeley will have a goal kick, and either taking that will be Ron Hansen or Henry Folk.
Huskies going to have to keep their shots low to get them by Folk because of his height. And the last, I guess their only 2 shots of the game have been over the crossbar.
Folk taking the kick, and it's a beauty right around midfield where it's headed up by Carlos. And there's going to be a fight for it between Jimmy Lyman and the California Berkeley defender, Ron Hansen. Hansen wins the battle, and the Cal Berkeley team controls the ball. With it is number 15, Robert Jameson, but it's run off the ball by Pedro DeBrito. The Huskies will bring it back the other way. Carlos sending it on the left side, headed away by a Cal Berkeley player, and now headed away by Jameson again. And Jameson sends it over for Eric Kapelke. Kapelke on the left side, passing it over to teammate Mark Robeson. Robeson slowing the ball up, sending it into the middle. This is for Dan Martin. Martin has it for a moment, but it's stolen by Carlos as he teamed up with Tim Maisley to double team the Cal Berkeley player, and he sends it all the way into the
Huskies trying to use their speed down the corners by starting to send the long passes down the sidelines, but that last time nobody was there. And Huskies are going to have to start it all over again from deep in their own territory.
And Charlie McSpirit controlling the ball for Connecticut. He comes around the 40-yard line, gets around 2 Cal Berkeley players, looking to get on the left side, but a nice, easy steal made by Ron Hansen. Hansen sends the ball into the area where it will be kicked up by Tim Maisley. Maisley loses it to Dan Martin, but Martin has it restolen back by Eric Myron, and the Huskies coming back the other way. This is Graciano Cornolo. Cornolo over for Billy Maroney. Maroney up to Charlie McSpirit, over to Graciano Cornolo. Huskies with quick, short passes. But this one was sent by Cornolo up to Charlie McSpirit is just a little bit too far. And Cal Berkeley sends the ball all the way back to goalkeeper Henry Folk. And the Huskies will have to go on the defense one more time. 24 minutes and 40 seconds to go here in the first half. 0-0 is the score. Cal Berkeley controlling the ball. Gustafson sending it into the Husky zone where it's headed up by Carlos and Teal Madison, and the ball settled down by Connecticut, and coming up with it will be Carlos. So Carlos on the right side, he's being bothered by Eric Kapelke. He gets the ball over to Jim Dorsanio around the 40-yard line, and Dorsanio passing it over to the middle to Bill Maloney. Maloney slowing the ball up just a little bit, looking to pass to teammate Pedro DeBrito. DeBrito has it, entering the attacking third of the field from the left side. DeBrito around one defender. It's Eric Sickerell, sends it up to the middle, but coming up with the defensive play is the goalkeeper Henry Folk, as DeBrito tried to center it for, I believe, teammate Jim Dorsanio, but coming up to make the play was Henry Folk, the goalkeeper, and another Husky scoring attempt is thwarted. This is Mark Delaney. Delaney being pushed from behind by Lyman. No call. Delaney sends it upfield, and the steal with it is Charlie McSpirit. McSpirit passes over to Tim Maisley. Maisley back over to DeBrito. DeBrito with the give and go to Maisley, but he can't connect, and Graciano Cornola comes up with it. He overshoots everybody, goes over the touchline right in front of the Golden Bear bench. And it'll be a throw-in for the Golden Bears. This is Eric Sickerell sending the ball into play for teammate Mark Delaney, but it's stolen by Jimmy Lyman. And the Huskies control it, and they're in their zone. And quickly with it is Carlos. Carlos sending it upfield, but it goes out of bounds. Last touch by number 11, Teal Madison. And Connecticut will have a throw. This is Graziano Cornola. Cornola loses. He cannot control it at all. Dave Gustafson's going to send it all the way back to Henry Folk. And one thing we should note right now, Graziano Cornola having some problems warming up very early. Cornola not really with much ball control so far early in this game, and Huskies are suffering on the offense because of it. Eric Sickerell with the ball right past the 50-yard line, sending the ball up to Dan Martin. Martin sending the ball back to Sickerell, but it's knocked away by Pedro DeBrito, and it will be a throw-in for this time Teal Madison.
We have a timeout now, an injured Golden Bear on the field. I'm not sure what happened. Looks like it may have been a knee injury.
And it's Ron Hansen on the ground as the Huskies are getting ready to send in 4 players. Elvis Comrie and Eddie Lynch are getting set to re-enter the game along with Kieran Coffey and Bob LeMay. And they're going to give a couple Huskies some breathers. But down in the field with an injured knee is Ron Hansen. Hansen is the 5'11" back from California. He's a freshman starting in the backfield. And his previous experience has only been high school ball. And he is still on the ground, and coming out to attend to him is the coach.
Coach Bill Coop in his first year for California, and Kapelke.
Kapelke's the injured one, and Hansen was helping him, so let's check that one. The injured man, Eric Kapelke, who is a 5'10" junior midfielder, and Kapelke is limping off the field. Hansen was attending to him, as that's the only number we did see. And getting set to check into the game is number 24, Mark Thompson. And Thompson has one of the goals that the UCal Berkeley has scored this season. Thompson scoring in the first game of the season in the 2-1 victory over Hayward. And Thompson checks into the game. He'll be playing midfield. And it'll be a throw-in for Cal Berkeley around the 30-yard line in the Connecticut zone as play will be resumed. Clock had been stopped at 22:42. We're still scoreless here at Memorial Stadium in Berkeley, California. And quickly, Cal Berkeley takes the throw and headed away by Charlie McSpirit. Headed upfield by Jim Dorsanio, and racing for the ball is Pedro DeBrito along with Dave Gustafson. Gustafson wins the battle, and he sends it up for a teammate. I believe it's Matt McPhee. McPhee loses the ball momentarily, and coming up with it will be Jimmy Lyman. Lyman over to Elvis Comrie. Comrie back to Jimmy Lyman. Lyman controlling the ball for the Huskies, and the Huskies getting some nice quick short passes again, but this one by Bill Maloney is errant, and Mark Thompson comes away with it for the Golden Bears. Quickly stolen back by DeBrito. DeBrito sends it over to Dorsanio, give and go back to DeBrito, and he's going to take a shot and go wide to the right, as Henry Folk was there to cut off the angle, but DeBrito shooting a little bit too early as he was about 20 yards out, racing down the right side, and the ball goes wide to the right, and again the Huskies cannot get the ball in the net.
Seems like UConn's playing like it's tired today. I don't know what it is. The plane ride wasn't too bad. The plenty of rest last night. I don't know why they're not any more energetic than when they're playing like.
And the 4 Huskies do check into the game, and taking a seat is Eric Myron, Tim Maisley, Jimmy Lyman, and Graziano Cornolo. And Coach Joe Maloney talking to all 3 of them, and Jimmy Lyman not too happy with his play so far here in the first half. This is Kieran Coffey controlling the ball for the Huskies. Coffey sending it up for Dorsanio, gets broken up, and ending up with the ball is Elvis Comrie. Comrie being pushed from behind by Dave Gustafson, and the Huskies coming up with the ball on a direct kick. And this will be taken by Kieran Coffey in the attacking third of the field for the Connecticut Huskies. And Now Coffey goes back on the play, and they're going to let Charlie McSpirit take it. McSpirit sends a centering pass. He's looking for Jim Dorsania, but he overshoots him, and Henry Folk comes out of the goal to make the save. Folk sends a lousy kick up front, and coming in is Bill Maroney shot on goal, but it's right to the hands of Folk again. And Maroney looking to try to start up some offense for the Connecticut Blue, but nothing going again as Folk makes the easy save, and this time sends a pass a lot farther upfield than the last pass, and there's going to be a push from behind by Bob LeMay. And a direct kick will be had by the Golden Bears of California.
Huskies starting to put a little bit more pressure on the offense, taking more control of the game, getting a few shots at Henry Folk in the California goal, but still nothing that Folk has really had to worry too much about.
And we'd like to take this opportunity to thank Jeff Dobeck, who is playing technical director back at the studios at WHUS, for taking off his afternoon and helping us bring you this game. And here's going to be Cal Berkeley play. They have the ball about 15 yards out. Shot on goal wide to the right, and that's going to be had by Teal Madison. And the Huskies will take it on a goal kick. And quickly sending it into play is Charlie McSpirit. McSpirit over to LeMay, and LeMay will give it to Renahan. And the Huskies really not playing up to their potential. They are the number one team in the country, but they do not look like it so far this afternoon. The crowd now up to about 200 fans here at Memorial Stadium as I guess classes are letting out and more of the fans are coming to watch their soccer team, which has a record of 5-1, but the number one team in the country. And the Huskies really not playing up to par so far this afternoon.
Kind of wonder why they're having the game at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, especially on the campus when a lot of people be in classes.
It's a very good point, because most of the people coming out now probably just came out of classes or just waiting to go between classes. There's no admission for any of these games. And open first come, first serve, and there's a lot more to serve. Connecticut controlling the ball, and they'll have it on a throw-in as John Brubacher takes the throw-in all the way upfield for Jim Dorsano. Dorsano controlling it around the middle third of the field. He's being badgered by two Cal Berkeley players, and he gets a pass over on the right side for teammate Bill Maroney. Maroney sending it up to Eddie Lynch. Lynch looking to pass it over to Carlos, but he's run off the ball by a Cal Berkeley player who is pushed from behind on top of it, and we're going to have a direct kick.
Harold, I found out why the game started at 1. At this football field, there's football practice at 4.
Football practice at 4, so we did answer our own question. Right now it's Anthony Burke who checked into the game during that last time out. He has the ball for Cal Berkeley, sends it upfield because it's stolen by Eddie Lynch. Lynch over to Dorsano. Dorsano up for a racing Bill Maroney. Maroney, who has his hip healed almost totally, racing downfield for with Ron Hansen. Maroney wins the battle, but he kicks it over the goal line before he can control it totally. And Henry Folk will have the goal kick for California Berkeley. 18 minutes and 10 seconds remaining here in the first half of play. Connecticut 0, Cal Berkeley 0. A couple substitutions. Tom Thompson, the freshman, checking into the game. And Graciano Cornello entering the game. And sitting down will be Pedro De Brito and Jim Dorsano. And this time it's Carlos passing on the right side for Elvis Comrie. One thing we should mention, Huskies with a lot more substitutions and a lot deeper bench could tire out the Cal Berkeley players towards the second half of the game. This is Carlos sending in the front for Kieran Coffey. Coffey's push, no call. And a steal made by Dan Martin. Martin sending it upfield for teammate Teal Madison. Madison controlling the ball. He gets around one Husky player, passing to the corner for Mark DiGiovanni, and DiGiovanni controlling it right around midfield. DiGiovanni sends up an errant pass, collecting it will be Bill Maroney. Maroney sending it out on the left side for Eddie Lynch, and Lynch controlling the ball nicely for the Huskies. Lynch up to Graciano Cornello. Cornello back to Coffey. Coffey over to Bill Maroney, and Maroney starting up the offense for Connecticut. Maroney passing the left side to Carlos. Carlos slowing it up now, trying to get around one California Berkeley player, sending it into the middle, but there's no Husky there, and Cal Berkeley comes away with the steal, and it's going to be Bob LeMay coming up with, but there's a whistle on the play, and we'll see what they're going to call a holding violation on California Berkeley, and Connecticut will have a direct kick.
UConn trying to put a little bit more together now. Every minute seem to be controlling the ball more and more. Now UConn at the Cal Berkeley, 30-yard line, so that means they're 37 yards away from the goal. And they're going to, Charlie McSpirit going to take the direct kick. And Cal Berkeley kicks it away from McSpirit. I don't know what they're going to call. They're going to stop the clock here. And they may issue a yellow card. Yes, they do. They're going to issue a yellow card.
Brian Babini or Mark Thompson. I'm not sure exactly who it's going to be.
Delay a game on Cal Berkeley.
And I believe it's on number 24, Mark Thompson. We are not officially sure on that, but a yellow card has been issued. And Thompson was the one talking to.
No yellow card, just a warning, I imagine.
So McSpirit sends in the play right in front of goal, headed by Bill Maroney, but there's going to be a whistle on the play, and I believe we're going to have a violation in the penalty area, and I believe we're going to have a penalty kick. Yes, we are. It's going to be a dangerous play called on the California Berkeley team with 16 minutes and 19 seconds to go in the first half, and the Huskies had the first opportunity to put the ball in the net, and it'll be a penalty kick taken by Elvis Comrie. So a very weird turn of events. There's Cal Berkeley stalling and kicking the ball away, and a warning issue to Mark Thompson, and then the Huskies sending the ball into play by Charlie McSpirit. And a dangerous play called on Cal Berkeley, and we're going to have a penalty kick with 16 minutes and 1 second. The clock kept ticking. 16:01 the clock is stopped at right now. So we're going to have to see if Elvis Comrie can put in the easy shot. And Folk is a very big boy to get the ball by. Comrie getting ready to set, takes a shot, and it scores! Folk got a hand on it, but the ball goes in the net. And he's not too happy with himself, so Elvis Comrie on the penalty kick. And the Huskies have taken a 1-0 lead here in Berkeley, California.
Oh, guess right. Guess it would be to his right. He dove that way. Got his right hand on it, but Elvis put enough on the ball to get it right by him. And UConn has a 1-0 lead, and we've got 16:01 left in the first half.
Official scoring, Elvis Comrie at the 28:59 mark, scoring on the goal. And for Comrie on the season, that is his 6th goal. This one on a penalty kick, and Cal Berkeley will start up the offense with another kick. And so Comrie now with 16 points on the year.
Takes over the team lead in scoring.
And he takes it over from Pedro DeBrito, who just came back with 2 goals and 1 assist last game. And he took the lead back with his first 2 points of this afternoon's game. Comrie on a penalty kick. Huskies controlling the ball. Now still the momentum is turning their way. This is Kieran Coffey passing to Carlos. Carlos giving go back to Coffey. Coffey up to Comrie. Comrie taken down from behind. And that play is by Eric Sickerell. And Comrie having some words with Sickerell. And a yellow card being issued to Eric Sickerell for a dangerous play with 15:25 to go. And so the referee is now starting to issue the yellow cards, hoping this game does not get out of hand. You know, any real rough physical play with any injuries. And Sickerell getting called for the yellow card as he pushed Comrie from behind. And the Huskies will have a direct kick about 25 yards out. And Carlos will get set to kick that one away. This time instead taking it is going to be Charlie McSpirit. McSpirit to Carlos. Carlos entering the penalty area. Back to McSpirit. The shot is kicked away by Cal Berkeley, and it's going to be gathered in by Brian Babini. Babini's coming down the other way. It's going to be a 2-on-2 play for the Cal Berkeley team. Babini head-to-head with Tim Maisley, sending a pass up front for a teammate. I did not see the number on that play, but it's kicked away. Now it's still loose in front of the goal, and coming up with it is the Huskies. They send it downfield a little while. Teal Madison coming up with the ball. Madison kicking it in front again, and this time Money will come out and make the save. So Cal Berkeley with the break. Huskies coming back a little bit slow on transition, but they did make the play. And Madison did get out the one shot on goal, but it was stopped by Jimmy Linehan, and the Huskies are controlling the ball with 14:32 to go here in the first half.
Ball was hanging around a little bit too much in the penalty box, and Ed Lynch made a nice play, clearing the ball away to the right side, giving Huskies a little bit more room to breathe with on defense.
Connecticut controlling the ball, but not for very long as Mark Thompson comes up and steals the ball, but Thompson has the ball restolen by Graziano Cornolo. Cornolo sending it into penalty area for Elvis Comrie, but it's stripped away nicely by Dan Martin. Martin sending it upfield, and coming down will be Bill Maroney. Maroney sending it back to Charlie McSpirit, and McSpirit will start it up from the Connecticut side of the field as he sends a pass into Carlos. Carlos over to Graziano Cornolo. Cornolo trying to get around one player. He can't do so. He gets a pass back to Carlos. Carlos who sends it into Kieran Coffey. Coffey sending the pass deep in for Husky player Dave Gustafson. Had the ball for a minute. Stolen by the Huskies, but restolen back by Eric Sickerell. Sickerell coming down the field, sending a pass for a teammate. It's going to be a foot race between Bob LeMay and I believe Eric Kapelke. And LeMay wins the race and sends it back to Jimmy Linehan. And the Huskies have the ball. This is number 9. Graziano Cornolo. Cornolo trying to send it upfield, but it's stripped away nicely by Pete Littman. Littman, who just checked in the game a couple of whistles ago, stripping the ball away and sending it over the touchline, and Connecticut will have the throw-in, and they send the ball into play, but a dangerous play, I believe, violation called against Carlos. He's talking to the referee about it, but nonetheless, it does stand. And with 13 minutes and 6 seconds to go in the first half, Cal Berkeley will have a direct kick, and taking it It'll be Eric Sickerell. Sickerell sending it all the way downfield for Charlie McSpirit, as McSpirit was the only player around the ball. And McSpirit sends it up to Carlos. Carlos whistle on the play, and we're going to have...
They call a handball against Carlos. He tipped it off his shoulder intentionally, and I guess the ref thought it hit a little bit more on the more of the arm than the shoulder.
And it'll be a direct kick for the Golden Bears, and taking it will be Eric Sickerell. Sickerell about 50 yards out from the Connecticut goal. Guarded by Graziano Cornolo, sends a lob in front, headed away nicely by Tim Maisley, and Maisley sends it up for Tom Thompson, and Thompson being guarded by Mark Robeson, and the ball goes out. Last touch by Thompson. There'll be a throw-in by Robeson of the Golden Bears. Huskies 1, and the Golden Bears 0, as Elvis Comrie scoring on a penalty kick with at the 28:59 minute mark, and Huskies coming up with the 1-goal lead. Kieran Coffey now heads the ball away from the penalty area right to the foot of Eric Sickerell. Sickerell controlling it, pass over to teammate Pete Littman. Littman trying to get around Coffey again, sending it up in the middle, but there's no offensive player for the Cal Berkeley team there, and Charlie McSpirit sends it over the touchline. Thrown by California Berkeley right in front of the Connecticut bench. And as you mentioned a little bit earlier, Jeff, there are no ball boys, and when the ball goes out of bounds, it takes a little while to get play started one more time.
Takes about 10 seconds, it seems like.
Burke sends the ball in front for a teammate, Brian Babini. His shot on goal is controlled by Jim Renahan. Babini with a header about 10 yards out, 10 or 15 yards out.
Babini, the team's leading scorer, he has 4 goals. Coach Maroney said this morning that Babini was the kind of player who looked to strip the ball from the opposition's defense and hope for the quick break. And besides doing that, he's run down the wings and look for the long pass an awful lot today.
Coffey controlling the ball, passing on the right side, Elvis Comrie. Comrie is right around the 25-yard line in the Cal Berkeley zone. Comrie up into the middle of the field for Bill Maroney. Maroney starting to enter the attacking third. Left side over to Carlos. Carlos trying to get around one Cal Berkeley player. Left side for Bob LeMay. LeMay has to beat the ball to the end line, and he does so. LeMay now sending it up in front, kicked off the foot of Mark Robeson, and the Huskies will have the first corner kick of the afternoon as a whole mess of substitutes getting set to check in for the Connecticut Blue. Let's see who they are. Jimmy Lyman, Eric Myron, Ilya Romeo, and Brian Stevenson come into the game. And taking a seat on the bench will be Kieran Coffey, Eddie Lynch, Elvis Comrie, and Carlos. So the Huskies making 4 substitutions. Now for the Cal Berkeley team, John Glenn entering the game, and taking a seat on the bench is Brian Babini, the leading scorer for Cal Berkeley. Here's the corner kick up by Tom Thompson, and goes over everyone's head. Controlled by Eric Meyer as he sends it up front, but there's no Husky there as Pete Littman has it. Littman sends it right to Jim Lyman. Lyman shot and goal, kicked away by Cal Berkeley, kept in again by Charlie McSpirit all the way to the goal, and Henry Folk comes out and makes the save. Folk quickly kicks the ball downfield and puts Cal Berkeley on the offense. 2 players going after the ball, controlled nicely by Dan Martin. And Martin has it for California Berkeley. Martin coming with the ball on 25-yard line. Kicks the ball into the penalty area, knocked away by McSpirit. Controlled by Jimmy Lyman, and Lyman sends it back to Renahan. And Renahan will start it up for Connecticut. 9 minutes and 35 seconds to go here in the first half. Connecticut 1 and California Berkeley 0.
I don't know about that 9:35. The clock is not official. There may be more. There may be less time. So
okay, we have just checked that. Unofficial time, 9:20, and we'll wait to see when the clock goes off. And we remember up in Boston at Nickerson Field, it wasn't very official and had some problems with it there. And this, again, unofficial again in Berkeley, California. Connecticut controlling the ball. This is Bill Maroney. Maroney controlling it, passes up to Jimmy Lyman. Lyman with the ball in the Berkeley side of the field. This is Graziano Cornolo. Cornolo passing the ball around, gets it over to Eric Myron. Myron entering the attacking third of the field, sending a pass up for Ilya Romeo, but knocked away by Cal Berkeley right to the foot of Bill Maroney. Maroney has the ball stripped from him by Pete Littman. Littman sending it up to Dan Martin, and Cal Berkeley bringing the ball the other way. Martin undershooting Eric Kapelke. The ball goes over the touchline, and it'll be a Connecticut Husky direct kick.
Berkeley looking for the quick counterattack on that play, but the long cross-field pass was slightly behind him, behind Kapelke, and
Connecticut comes up with the ball as Golden Bears send it over the touchline. Bill Maroney shot on goal. It's a nice, easy one. Henry Folk makes the save, and he sends it up towards midfield where it's headed. Well, it's not headed. It's off the arm of Bob LeMay. No handball called. And it goes over the touchline, and another throw-in by California Berkeley. Unofficial time, 8 minutes left in the first half. Connecticut 1, California Berkeley 0. It's been a not too exciting game here, as no real offense by either team. The only goal being scored on a penalty kick, and there's almost a mistake by the Huskies, as Anthony Burke almost had the ball untouched right around the penalty area, but the Huskies quickly knocked the ball away. This is Tom Thompson controlling it on the left sideline. Thompson trying to get around California Berkeley defender, being pushed down by Dave Gustafson. And Huskies will have a free kick on the foul.
Gustafson tripping up Tom Thompson on that, and then complained about the call. Very aggressive play by California here.
California gets the ball on a throw-in. Eric Capelke sending it to the left side, and it's knocked away nicely by Tim Maisley. Maisley controlling it for the Huskies and sending up a pass to Bill Maroney. Maroney right around the 40-yard line, entering towards midfield, gets past midfield, but is stripped from behind by Eric Capelke, and Berkeley will take the ball back the other way. This is Capelke with it, trying to get around Bob LeMay. A foot race to the ball. LeMay wins the race, sends it back to Jimmy Renahan, and Renahan will slow it up and check out the action and start with the Husky offense and see if the Huskies can put one more score on the board before halftime, even though Huskies really having problems with the defense. They're having problems with their offense. Their best offense was a breakdown of the California Berkeley's defenses. They had a dangerous kick call in the penalty area and a penalty kick, and it was scored by Elvis Comrie. And Henry Folk, the goalie on the play, guessed the right way, had a hand on the ball, but just missed it.
Ronnie's slow getting up at his 35-yard line and took a shot there. And this is only his fourth game of the year. He's had injuries all summer. He's had injuries all fall, and he's going to come off the field now. Injury timeout, and Carlos will take his place. Billy was just sitting on his knees for about a minute there while play was going on before he realized what happened, and he walks off. It looks okay.
It might be his leg, as he is pointing to his leg, and Ralph Mansell tending to Bill Maroney as the ball is up in the air and controlled by California Berkeley. With it, Pete Littman. Littman coming down the right side. Jimmy Lyman trying to run him off the ball, but Littman makes a nice move back and keeps control of it. Littman passing up for a teammate, broken up nicely by Tim Maisley. Maisley sending it back to Jim Renahan as Dan Martin went for the ball. But Renahan controlling for the Connecticut Huskies, and he sends it over. Nice pass to Bob LeMay, and the Connecticut offense will be trying to be started one more time. They've been stalled really all afternoon. LeMay's passed up a little bit too far for Ilya Romeo. And another throw-in, this time by California Berkeley. The Huskies were starting to control the game a little more with their passing, but really, they do not look like the number one team in the country, a team that really totally dominated the Purple Knights of Bridgeport. But then again, California Berkeley is not as poor as a caliber of a team as the University of Bridgeport team was, as they really look like a sub-JV team as they played the Connecticut Huskies at Gardner downfield. Connecticut controlling the ball, putting a couple nice passes together. This is Charlie McSpirit on the right side looking for a breaking Eric Myron. Almost stoned, but Romeo comes up with the ball and sends it back to Myron nicely, and Myron controlling it for the Huskies. Myron loses it now to Mark Robeson. Robeson passing on the left side for a teammate, and Cal Berkeley bringing it back the other way. Almost broken up by Charlie McSpirit, but California has control of the ball. They're coming around the 30-yard line, passing the right side over for Pete Littman. Littman being guarded man-to-man by Brian Stevenson. Littman trying to make a move on Stevenson, sends the ball towards the goal. It looked like it went off the arm of Stevenson. No call, but Renahan makes the easy save. And Renahan sends it up on the right side. This time it goes to Ilya Romeo. Romeo controlling it, sending it up to Graziano Cornolo. Cornolo trying to get around Teal Madison, instead passing it back to Eric Myron. And Myron back to Cornolo. Cornolo over to Romeo. A couple of nice short passes. And the Huskies trying to establish their short passing game on the side. This is Charlie McSpirit bringing it right up the middle. McSpirit going for a breaking. Ilya Romeo broken up nicely by Ron Hansen, but controlled by Jimmy Lyman of the Connecticut Huskies. Lyman sending a pass back to Carlos. Over to Stevenson. Stevenson sending it up to Romeo. Romeo trying to get around one player, and he's having some problems getting around Gustafson, and ball sent back upfield where Charlie McSpirit takes it for the Huskies. Huskies have the ball, and they have a push from behind. A dangerous play called number 19, Anthony Burke. Huskies with the ball. Shot on goal. Nice save by Henry Folk, as taking a really quick shot on goal. Tom Thompson from the right side about 15 yards out. And he just hit the top right-hand side of the post as Folk knocked the ball away. And the ball might have went in on the top corner. Well, as we said, unofficial time. And on the board it says 3 minutes and 26 seconds to go in the first half. DeBrito checking back into the game and taking a seat will be, I believe, Graziano Cornolo.
Also checking in, Brian Stevenson, the freshman. Huskies having problems getting their offense going here today. I think one of the reasons is probably because of California's 4-4-2 alignment. They have 4 backs and 4 mids, and they keep 2 guys around midfield when the Huskies are on offense, and everybody else just kind of packs it down at the end of the field, setting up a roadblock.
And controlling the ball, Henry Folk, the goalkeeper of California Berkeley. He sends it upfield. A nice kick about 60 yards downfield, but no Cal Berkeley player there to gather in the ball, and the Huskies will bring it back the other way. Clock running, 2:38, unofficial time to go in the first half. 1-0 Connecticut on a penalty kick scored by Elvis Comrie. At the time of that goal, 28:59 in the first period. That was Comrie's 6th goal of the season for his 16th point. And the Huskies really have not mustered up any offense besides that. I believe they've outshot Cal Berkeley. We'll see that in the official halftime scoring statistics. But and they've probably outcornered them, I believe, 1-0. But other than that, the game has really not been dominated by either team. Only the Huskies have it on the scoreboard. I'd like to remind you, at halftime, it'll be Chuck Manning, assistant sports editor of the Norwich Bulletin. Jeff Hood will be speaking to him about soccer and anything else that comes to mind. And that'll be our halftime show for this afternoon.
How long is that show, Harold?
It's about a 5 to 10 minute show. You can talk that long.
I'll probably think of enough questions.
Pete Littman controlling the ball. Littman passing over to Mark Thompson. Thompson sending it into the penalty area. Cleared away by Charlie McSpirit. McSpirit sends it right to the head of Eric Sickerell. Sickerell having the ball headed around a few more times, and Cal Berkeley gets a couple of heads on it, but Brian Stevenson comes away with the ball. Stevenson up for Carlos, and Carlos sends it upfield for a breaking DeBrito. But DeBrito having some problems. DeBrito's in the foot race with Ron Hansen and Dave Gustafson. And it's controlled by Cal Berkeley, and Mark Thompson bringing the ball back the other way. Thompson for the Golden Bears, coming back with the ball, sending it up to teammate Dan Martin, but he was tripped from behind by Tim Maisley. Maisley saying it was totally unintentional, but the crowd not believing so, as we do have right around 200 to 250 fans, and I do keep increasing that total because more fans do seem to be coming in as the day wears on.
Close to 300, Harold.
Connecticut 1, Cal Berkeley nothing, and taking the direct kick, Eric Sickerell, but we have a whistle and a hold by Cal Berkeley right in front of the penalty area. Connecticut will have the direct kick, and the clock running now under a minute to go unofficially here in the first half. And Connecticut getting set to get that ball into play. This is Jimmy Renahan now, as goalie will be taking it and starting everything up. Renahan bouncing the ball a couple times now, sending it all the way downfield. Nice 50-yard kick headed off Tom Thompson's and controlled by Cal Berkeley. Berkeley sends it right back to Tom Thompson. Thompson having the ball almost stolen from him, but Brian Stevenson comes up with it. Stevenson getting tripped from behind, and the ball stolen back by Dan Martin, and Martin controlling it for the Golden Bears. Martin sending the pass up front for Mark Robeson. Robeson having some problems getting around Roger Vernes, but Robeson does send it up into the middle where it's knocked away by Brian Stevenson. A whistle on the play, and we're going to have a tripping call on, I believe, Roger Vernes on the right side, but the field on the clock says 0-0-0, and that is the end of the first half. So the clock does seem to be the official scoreboard here this afternoon. At the end of one half of the play here in Berkeley, California's Memorial Stadium, the halftime score, Connecticut 1, Cal Berkeley 0. We'll be back with the halftime festivities right after this. Cal Berkeley, the Golden Bears going from right to left. And Huskies will have the kickoff in this half as Cal Berkeley started off the game. And we just got to mention that our phone line was just coming in right now, which would have been a half a game late. We are using another phone line, the United Press International. We'd like to thank them for letting us use their line.
They don't know that.
And they don't know that. We're not calling on their line, so it doesn't really matter. But we are using it, and thank God for them, because other than that, we wouldn't be able to broadcast this game. But the Huskies getting set to underway. 45 minutes left in the game. The Huskies take the ball. Carlos sends it into the Cal Berkeley zone where it's controlled by Mark Robeson. Robeson sending it back to Henry Folk. And Cal Berkeley quickly getting the ball back. Folk shanks the kick right off to the head of Elvis Comrie. Comrie has the ball headed back to him by John Glenn. The ball still loose in the air. It's settled down by DeBrito. DeBrito over to Eddie Lynch. And the Huskies controlling it in the Cal Berkeley zone. Lynch sending up for Graciano Cornell. Cornell is tripped on the play. I believe he's injured. No whistle. And Mark Robeson coming up with the ball. The ball goes over the touchline. Last touch by Cal Berkeley, the Huskies quickly send into play. This is Eddie Lynch sending into Pedro DeBrito. DeBrito having the ball stolen from him by Robeson. Robeson passing over to teammate Dave Gustafson, and Gustafson sends it up to Jimmy Lyman by mistake, and the Huskies still keep control of the ball early here in the second half, but Graziano Cornolo is still not feeling very good after that shot he took, and he's been moving around slowly, now warming up a little bit better. This is Brian Babini. Babini sending the ball deep into the zone by Dan Martin. Martin takes a weak shot on goal, saved by Jim Renahan, and Cal Berkeley gets the first shot off in the second half. Renahan outlets the ball all the way upfield, looking for Pedro DeBrito, but knocked away by Eric Kapelke. And Kapelke sends it back to teammate Mark Thompson. Thompson sending it all the way into his zone for Ron Hansen. Hansen will start it up for the Cal Berkeley team. Hansen sending the ball upfield off the foot of DeBrito. It goes out of bounds and a throw-in right in front of the Husky bench. Robeson will be taking this for the Golden Bears. Robeson all the way downfield looking for it, and settling it down is Dan Martin. Martin sending a cross-field pass over for a teammate. I believe it is Robert Jameson, but it goes out of bounds. Jameson racing for the ball, couldn't get it as it goes over the touchline, and Huskies with a throw-in. Carlos gathering the ball from Eric Myron, has the ball, sending it upfield for Pedro DeBrito, but it's stolen by Ron Hansen, and Hansen sends it right back to where Carlos was, but it goes over the touchline as no one is there, and the Huskies will have a throw-in. 43 minutes and 7 seconds to go here in the second half, and we know from Coach Mooney's strategy, he likes to get on the board in the first 5 minutes of each half, and he likes to have his Husky team really hustling through those first 5 minutes. Huskies coming out looking a little bit different than the team we saw in the first half. They're hustling after the ball a little more than they were, and Cal Berkeley still playing their hustle game. This is Eric Kapelke with the ball. He is tripped up by Elvis Comrie. We're going to have a yellow card on Elvis Comrie here in the second half, and Comrie not too happy with it. He's talking over with the official, but he's going to have to settle with it. And Comrie's apologizing to the man he tripped, Eric Kapelke.
I wonder about that the yellow card, Harold. I don't think it was intentional. Harold went over. I'm sorry.
I don't think Elvis
we're not down there. Elvis went over and talked to the official, and then the official brought out the card. And
I think they're trying to start the second half as they had the first half, not very physical, not very violent, and no rough stuff, and that's exactly what the official probably did by trying to make an example out of Elvis Comrie. And when they have a substitution for Kapelke, who has still been limping around, Eric Ciccarello is going to check back into the game. Huskies are going to control the ball on the goal kick as it went over the end line on a missed shot by Mark Thompson. It was just shanked off his foot, not even close to the goal. And on the goal kick, it's headed away by Eric Kapelke. Kapelke up the field for Dan Martin. Martin trying to get it to teammate Brian Babini, but it's stolen by the Huskies and brought back the other way. This is Graziano Cornolo controlling. He's trying to get around two Cal Berkeley players, and we're going to have a hold, this time on Dave Gustafson. And the Huskies will have a direct kick inside the Cal Berkeley zone. Carlos with the ball. Right side over to Eddie Lynch. Lynch trying to find a Husky player, looking for a breaking Graziano Cornolo. He gets it to him. Cornolo back over to number 5, Charlie McSpirit. McSpirit to Elvis Comrie. Comrie takes a shot on goal. It goes through or to the left of the uprights, as this is a football field also. And no goal, no field goal, no nothing. Just a goal kick for the Cal Berkeley Golden Bears. And taking it will be Henry Folk, the goalkeeper. And Folk with 1 goal on the season so far on a penalty kick. And he sends it up, a nice boot upfield, but pushing on the play is Jimmy Lyman, as Lyman pushed Dave Gustafson very intentionally. Make that Brian Babini very intentionally, and it'll be a direct kick for the Cal Berkeley team about 35 yards out of the goal.
A lot of standing around on both teams now. I thought UConn would come out in the second half being a little bit more physical. There's a head ball, and out in front of the goal, Jim Renahan takes over.
And there's going to be an offsides violation before that play. Sickerell sending it into the penalty area. But offsides on Cal Berkeley, and the Huskies bring it back on an indirect kick.
I think UConn's having a little bit of problem with the turf even. Passes are rolling a little bit farther than they'd like. And there's another example right here. Jim Lyman kicks it up the right side a little bit ahead of Comrie, but he catches up to it.
Comrie had the ball stolen away by Ron Hansen, but Hansen mistakenly kicked it out of bounds, and Huskies will have a throw-in. Hansen maliciously pushed back Elvis Comrie. Comrie watching behind him now. He's looks like he's going to be the object of a little bit of an abuse here. Lynch sending a throw in right into the midfield, but it's knocked away nicely by Cal Berkeley. Sent all the way downfield where Charlie McSpirit's racing forward. He's going to send it, or slow it down. It looked like he was going to kick it the right hand, but McSpirit's going to bring it back the other way. McSpirit up for Pedro DeBrito. DeBrito settles it down, gets it over to Eddie Lynch. Lynch around midfield, sending it up for Elvis Comrie, who's breaking on the play. Comrie headed nice to Graciano Cornello. Cornello taking a shot, and it goes over everybody and everything. He was about 30 yards out, and I believe he teed up a little bit too early also.
Well, that was a three-pointer for Comrie that time, and Pedro DeBrito on the right sideline took an elbow in the face, and he was down for a while, didn't get back in, and he's looking around, looking for that golden bear that hit him.
And it looks like Cal Berkeley getting a little more physical than the Huskies are, as Comrie's getting pushed. Now, as you just mentioned, DeBrito with an elbow in the face, and a lot more Huskies falling down the field now than Cal Berkeley. But there's a push now on the Huskies' Carlos, so they'll go the other way. And Cal Berkeley will have the direct kick. Clock running, 38 minutes, 49 seconds to go in regulation time, or in the game. Huskies leading at 1-0, but it could be tied up any minute now if the Cal Berkeley strategy proves to go their way. They're just looking for a break, and if the break does come their way, this game could be tied up.
Seems like their strategy is defense today, Harold. They really haven't had any offense to speak of. They've got a few shots, but their passes are way too long. And there's another example. About a 20-yard pass, and you can't consistently connect on those kind of passes, especially against UConn.
And they're playing on AstroTurf. The Huskies played on AstroTurf last week versus Boston University, and they had no problems with the Terriers up in BU. They quickly came out to a 3-0 lead, but the Huskies back in Boston look a little bit different than the Huskies do right here today, even though they're starting to play a little more aggressively, and they're starting to hustle a lot more and run after those balls and keep up with Cal Berkeley. They are going to have to tire out Cal Berkeley just a little more than they have been. And right now, controlling the ball is Eddie Lynch. Lynch heads it up to field to Pedro DeBrito. DeBrito getting pushed from behind by Mark Robeson, but DeBrito still controlling the ball. Nice individual effort by Pedro DeBrito as he passed on the right side to John Brubaker. Brubaker sending it in for Eddie Lynch, but the ball goes over the touchline. We have a whistle on the play before it went over the line. And I believe the referee is going to call.
He stopped the clock here, talking to DeBrito. And looks like Babini. I can't really see the number now. Looks like
I believe it's
number 6.
Capelki,
right.
Let's switch that. Now it looks like number 5, Mark Robeson. And there has not been a card issued, but I guess DeBrito now is shaking hands with Robeson, as I guess they've been getting a little bit too physical. And the referee again trying to stop him. We have a drop kick right on the 26 yard line, and Comrie's going to take the drop kick. Carlos takes the drop kick, and Carlos wins the drop kick. Brubaker had the ball momentarily, but it's stolen by Eric Sicaro. Brought back the other way, where Tim Maisley gathers it in. Maisley passes it over to John Brubaker, and the Huskies bring it back the other way. Ball loose on the ground. It's Eddie Lynch controlling it as he comes into the Berkeley zone, sends a pass up, but it's kicked away nicely by Robert Jameson. Controlled by the Huskies again, a whistle on the play, and Eddie Lynch is now complaining. And I believe they're going to have a push from behind on Cal Berkeley, another foul, and the Huskies will have a direct kick, this time about 36 yards out of the Berkeley goal. And looking to be taking it will be Pedro DeBrito.
California's played a very physical second half. Easily have more fouls than Huskies, maybe 3 times as many. Point.
And here's McSpirit taking the direct kick. He lobs in front, looking for the header. Is Cornell right in front to Carlos Collins. Comrie to Graciano Cornell, loose in front, but a save by Henry Falk. And the Huskies had a beautiful opportunity to put the ball in the net as Carlos had a foot on it, and Graciano Cornell had a foot on it. But Falk just dove on the play, and he saved himself a second goal on that one.
Falk was shaking his hands at his defense. He was pretty angry with him for leaving unmarked men in the penalty box.
Comrie over to Graciano Cornell, left side of DeBrito. DeBrito right outside the penalty area, looking to get past John Glenn. He's going to send a lob centering pass in front for Carlos. Carlos headed up, and it's still loose. And Cornell takes a shot over everything, and another play goes down. But the Huskies starting to really come alive on the offense as they put together a couple of nice passes to get the ball into the penalty area. And another one goes by the books, and this time another goal kick, this time by Henry Falk. Falk sends it deep downfield, about a 60-yard kick headed away by John Brubaker. Brubaker right to the foot of Eric Sicaro, and Sicaro passes to teammate Mark Delaway. Delaway on the right side, getting it over to Robert Jameson, but a nice sliding tackle by Eric Myron, and it goes out of bounds, but last touch by Jameson, and the Huskies will have a throw-in. Clock running with 35 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the game. It's right now Connecticut 1, Cal Berkeley 0. The only goal being scored by Elvis Comrie on a penalty kick. And the time of that goal was 28 minutes and 59 seconds, and that's unofficial, as the clock had been very messed up throughout most of the first half. And now we're going to get a check on that. 29 minutes and 35 seconds is the official time of the goal. Huskies breaking on the field. Elvis Commerce sending a pass up front, but no Husky there to take advantage of it. Full coming out of the goal to make the play. And the offense of attack will be started up again by Cal Berkeley. Kick all the way downfield, but no Golden Bear there to take it. Huskies gather up the ball. Graziano Cornello entering the Golden Bear side of the field. Up for Elvis Comrie. Comrie gives it back to Charlie McSpirit. McSpirit up to Cornello. Give and go back to McSpirit. Shot up and no good as Henry Falk comes out of the goal to make the play. Falk kicking it all the way upfield, and it's misheaded by two players, one from each team, and it's settled down on the foot of Tim Maisley. So Maisley has started up for Connecticut. Maisley up to Jimmy Lyman. Lyman's hitting all the way downfield for Elvis Comrie. It's going to be a 1-on-2 break. Comrie looking to take a shot, but a nice sliding tackle made by Ron Hansen. And it's going to be a corner kick for the Huskies. Their first of the half and their second of the game. And the Huskies are starting to get more aggressive, especially on the offensive side. And Dorsano getting set to check in the game as now Bill Maroney sets and checks into the game for Eddie Lynch. And Dorsano coming in for Graziano Cornello. So a couple substitutions in the second half for the Huskies. And they're going to take the corner kick. And we'll see who's going to be taking it. It's either going to be Comrie or Carlos. And Carlos sends a lob up front for Bill Maroney. Missed by Maroney. A shot by Dorsano. Kicked up and last touched by Cal Berkeley. And a corner kick on the other side of the field. This time to be taken by Pedro DeBrito. So the Huskies keeping the ball alive in front. And getting a nice shot was Dorsano. But he really had it blocked by a Cal Berkeley player. And this time we'll see what DeBrito can do with it on the corner kick from the left side. And we have another horn and I believe a substitution. This time, Cal Berkeley is going to have a substitution. Eric Kapelke coming into the game, and sitting down, I believe, is Mark Robeson. And here's DeBrito's kick. It's knocked in front by a Cal Berkeley player out of bounds. Another corner kick, and DeBrito will have another shot. Ron Hansen making that play. And
3 corner kicks in the last 5 seconds, seems like.
DeBrito, lob in front, looking for Comrie, and it's punched away nicely by Falk. And he got a good hand on that one as he came out of the goal. A very alert play. Tim Maisley controlling it for the Huskies. Maisley over to DeBrito. DeBrito on the 15-yard line, trying to make a move around Hansen. Does so, still controlling the ball. Getting set to move into the penalty area. Had it for a moment. Now lose it. Now still controlling it. He's down on the ground. And he passes over to Carlos. Carlos trying to get a pass to Jimmy Lyman. But that's broken up by California Berkeley's defender. And passing up the field where the Huskies will control it. But that offensive attack will have to be started one more time. This is Jimmy Lyman sending in for Carlos. He's being tangled up in Mark Delray, and Delray comes over and sends a pass up to Danny Martin. Martin controlling it right around midfield, trying to pass it over to teammate Eric Kapelke, broken up by Maroney. Maroney sending it back, but it's kicked downfield by Cal Berkeley. The ball is loose, and now Charlie McSpirit has a foot on it. McSpirit loses all the way back, and coming all the way out to the goal as it rolls all the way back to Jimmy Renahan, and Renahan does come out and make the play as he outlets it on the right side. 32 minutes, 8 seconds to go here in the contest. Connecticut 1, Cal Berkeley 0, and the game is becoming a little more exciting, a lot more offensive action for, well, at least the Huskies, as they're taking the ball a little bit more to the Cal Berkeley goal. Dorsano deep in the area. Gustafson breaks up the play, sends it back to Henry Falk, and Falk bounces it once and twice, and now sends off a shot all the way towards midfield, where it'll be headed up in the air by Charlie McSpirit. McSpirit heads it right to the chest of a Cal Berkeley player, but it's kicked out of bounds by John Brubaker. That Cal player was Danny Martin. Martin almost had a break, but Brubaker literally kicked it over the touchline. It'll be a throw-in for Mark Thompson with 31:30 to go in the game. Thompson throws it right in front of the goal, but it's headed away nicely by Tim Maisley, controlled by Eric Kapelke. Kapelke gets sent away from the penalty area, and it's controlled by Delaware. Delaware gets it back to Sickerell. Sickerell coming loose in front, and the ball is still bouncing around loose. Danny Martin has it shot on goal, knocked away by a Husky, and coming out to make the play is Jim Renahan, as the shot was not very strong, and the Huskies just kicked it away, and Jim Renahan gathered it up for the Connecticut Blue, and the Huskies will come back the other way. This is Bill Maroney. Maroney sending out a short pass up for Elvis Comrie. Comrie being pushed from behind by Gustafson. No call. Sends it over to Tim Maisley. Maisley over to Bill Maroney, and they're still fighting back in their own zone of the field. This is Charlie McSpirit. McSpirit sending a pass midfield for Jim Dorsano. Dorsano gives it back to McSpirit. McSpirit starting up the offense as the sweeper back for the Huskies. McSpirit sending it to DeBrito. DeBrito entering the penalty area. Makes one move. Shot on goal, but right to Falk. And DeBrito making a really pretty move around one defender. Had a nice right-footed shot on goal, but it was picked up, and now we're going to have an offsides violation called on that play. So really, if the ball went in, there would have been no shot. But nice, outstanding effort by DeBrito nonetheless. Connecticut controlling the ball. This is Jimmy Lyman. Lyman passing over to Billy Maroney. Maroney up to DeBrito. DeBrito slowing around. He's now moving upfield very slowly. Now looking to see if he can make a play. Passing the right side to his roommate, Elvis Comrie. And the ball is kicked out of bounds by Mark Thompson. It'll be a throw-in by Comrie of the Connecticut Huskies.
Connecticut's trying to take over the game a little bit more the way they should be playing the game. Short passes, working their way into the opposition zone.
Comrie into Carlos. He loses it momentarily, and coming up with it is number 10, Brian Babini. Babini sending it up front for teammate Mark Delaray, and the Cal Berkeley team is breaking a 4-on-5. Delaray, left side, pass over to Dan Martin. Martin into the right corner for Robert Jameson. Jameson having some problems being badgered by Myron, and Myron comes away with the steal. Myron coming back the other way, sending it up to Bill Maroney. Maroney right around the 35-yard line, has the ball stripped away from him very nicely by Sicaro. And Sicaro making some nice fancy moves, passing the left side to Kapelke. Kapelke looking for a breaking teammate, and getting the ball over to Mark Thompson. Kapelke does his trick. Thompson taking a shot. It goes over the goal and over everything. And Thompson really teeing up a little bit too early himself as the ball goes over the net. And we're going to have a goal kick by the Connecticut Huskies. And there's no ball boys around to get the ball for Jim Renahan. He's going to have to go all the way back to get it himself.
A couple substitutions here, Harold. Graziano Cornolo coming in, along with Brian Stevens, and Eric Myron checks out. And I see the other one. Looks like no one's come out yet.
Elvis Comrie, I believe, came out in the play.
Yes, it was Elvis. Elvis came out earlier.
Huskies controlling the ball, and it's going to be John Brubaker sending it up right along the right touchline, and going for it is Carlos, and it goes out of bounds. Last touched by Mark Robeson, as Carlos was fighting with the ball with Robeson. Huskies controlling the ball. This is Jim Dorsano. He has the ball stripped from him by number 8, Eric Sicaro. And the ball is now being kicked around loosely. Now the Huskies take the ball, and this is Graziano Cornolo. Passing the right side to Dorsano. Dorsano from around 12 yards out, trying to get into the penalty area. He gets around Thompson. He gets into the penalty area, but he goes over the goal line. And last touch by Dorsano will have a goal kick. This time going the other way for the Cal Berkeley Golden Bears. 28 minutes and 1 second. That's unofficial time to go here in the contest. Connecticut 1, Cal Berkeley 0. The only goal being scored on an Elvis Comrie penalty kick at the 29-minute, 45-second mark in the first half. Dorsano with the ball, entering the attacking third of the field. He's trying to get around Dave Gustafson, and he can't do so as Gustafson comes away with the steal. Eric Kapelke passing the ball on the right side to teammate Robert Jameson. Jameson sending a pass to a streaking Dan Martin, but coming away with the ball is Tim Maisley. But Maisley, all Maisley can do is kick the ball over the touchline, and we're going to have a throw-in for Cal Berkeley's team, but the Huskies get to come back on defense.
And Cal Berkeley running an awful lot here, Harold. Looking upfield for the long pass in that situation, same thing, and they're in pretty good shape here. They have a nice throw-in around the 8-yard line.
One thing, the Huskies are used to playing at hot surfaces also during high field. Now ball loose in front, Jim Renahan coming in to make the play, and sitting on him is T.O. Madison, and Madison almost bringing down Renahan in the penalty area. But as I was going to say, the Huskies playing in a very hot game against Bridgeport in beautiful weather, and Cal Berkeley, of course, very used to playing in this nice 70-degree weather also. So the Huskies really should be in shape for this. Cal Berkeley should be pretty much in shape too, but the Huskies with their deep bench should be tiring out the Golden Bears. We're on a break in front. It's going to be Graziano Cornolo looking to make the play, but Henry Falk again comes out. And Falk, a very good goalkeeper, really doing a very good job today, as he literally has come out a lot of the net. And we made a lot of nice saves for his team. Now he kicks all the way downfield. Dan Martin controlling, and he's having some problems getting around Tim Maisley and John Brubaker. And one of the two kicks the ball out of bounds, and it'll be a throw-in for the Golden Bears. And this will be Danny Martin. Martin gets the ball over to Mark Delaray, and Delaray will take the throw-in. And Delaray looking to get the ball deep into the penalty area. He steps back a few steps, and he sends it all the way in. And looking for the headers, a couple Cal Berkeley players coming up with McSpear now, a foot and a shot by Delaray, but the ball is still loose outside, and it goes all the way back to Ron Hansen at midfield. Hansen getting ready to tee up, and he sends it deep into the zone where John Brubaker heads it away, but he can't head it too far away, and T.O. Madison comes up with the ball. Madison gets the ball stripped from him by Dorsano, and the Huskies are bringing it back the other way. Carlos, pass up front for John Brubaker. Brubaker streaking down the right side, trying to get around a couple Cal Berkeley players, and it's stolen, stripped nicely by Ron Hansen. Hansen has the ball knocked away by Brubaker, but we're going to have a foul called on Brubaker. And it'll be a direct kick for the California Berkeley team with 25 minutes and 16 seconds to go here in the contest.
John got stripped of the ball that time, and coming back, he was just a little angry at himself and stuck out his foot and tripped up the Cal Berkeley player.
This is Teal Madison looking for the header, can't get it, and Charlie McSpirit comes away with the ball. McSpirit sending the ball upfield, looking for it is DeBrito, but DeBrito can't beat the ball to the touchline. It goes out of bounds, and it'll be a throw-in this time for Dave Gustafson. Gustafson sends it all the way back to the goalkeeper, Henry Falk. And Falk with that very powerful leg. Let's see what he does with it this time. Sending it upfield again, deep into the Husky zone, where no one touches it. And now it's controlled down by Brian Stevenson of the Connecticut Huskies. This will be Bill Maroney. Maroney sending it up, kicked away by a Cal Berkeley player, but controlled by Carlos. And Carlos sending a pass up to Jim Dorsanio. Huskies with the break. Dorsanio passes to Brito. Run off the ball by Gustafson, and Gustafson controlling it for the Golden Bears. Gustafson sending a centering pass up front, almost stolen by Graciano Corona. Not a very smart player for the defense, but coming away with is Ron Hansen of the Golden Bears, and Hansen and a teammate Robert Jamison team up to send the ball deep downfield, where Jim Renahan will take control of the ball for Connecticut.
UConn had a nice chance there. The ball centered errantly, of course, but Cornello could not get there in time. Good marking by DeBrito, and I believe it was Jim Lyman, or Dorsanio, rather, on that last play, forcing the Berkeley player to center that ball.
Bill Maroney takes control of the ball for the Connecticut Huskies. Maroney was fell with an injury a little bit earlier, but not anything too serious as he is back in the game. Pass the left side, Dorsanio, give and go back to Maroney, and it works nicely. Maroney sending it now up to Carlos near into the attacking third of the field. Kick in towards the penalty area, knocked away by Cal Berkeley. They're going to come away with the ball. Ron Hansen sending it over to Mark Thompson on the left side of the field. Thompson up for a streaking Eric Kapelke, but it's knocked away by Carlos, controlled by Mark Robeson, and Robeson has the ball stolen by Jimmy Lyman. Lyman pass to Carlos looking for some daylight, but he's being tangled up by Mark Robeson. It goes out of bounds. Last touch by Robeson, and a throw in quickly by Carlos. Ball loose up in the air, looking for his Dorsanio, and it is a dangerous play called on Dorsanio as he kicked into a Cal Berkeley player. So it'll be a direct kick for Cal Berkeley, and taking it will be Gustafson. Gustafson passing the right side. Goes all the way up for Mark Delaway. Delaway now looking for a teammate, Teal Madison, but he can't connect it. Coming up with the ball is Dan Martin. Martin making some nice moves, trying to get around Maisley. Can't do so. And Dorsanio comes up to strip the ball, but it's quickly taken back by Mark Thompson. Thompson sends it into the penalty area, headed away by McSpirit, right to the foot of Dan Martin. Martin controlling the ball. Martin up for a teammate, but stolen by Tim Maisley. Whistle on the play, and we're going to have a push called on Connecticut. And a direct kick about 20 or 35 yards out of the Connecticut goal. And we'll see if the Cal Berkeley team can capitalize on this. It's Eric Kapelke getting set to take it. He chips one into the middle. It's missed by everybody. Almost kicked in the goal by Teal Madison as Charlie McSpirit jumped up for the header. He missed it. Madison came down and kicked it off the side of his leg. And Jim Renahan yelling at the defender who was defending Madison, because Madison was pretty much left unmarked right in front of the goal. But the ball goes over the goal line, and it'll be a goal kick for the Connecticut Huskies.
Madison really had a good shot there. He just ran in unannounced. Nobody picked him up, and he nearly had the ball was pretty much there. He just bounced a little bit too high for him, but he could not come up with it, and Huskies have a goal kick.
And taking the goal kick will be Charlie McSpirit. McSpirit sending it on the left side for Brian Stevenson. 21 minutes and 59 seconds remaining here in the first half. Stevenson sending it upfield, but a push on the play by Cal Berkeley, and Connecticut will have the direct kick, and I believe the Huskies have made a few more substitutions. And we'll try Tom Thompson rechecked into the game, and sitting on the bench is Tim Maisley. And Pedro DeBrito is now on the bench, and I believe Eddie Lynch re-entered the game for him. Huskies with the ball, and Elvis Comrie taken down right outside the penalty area. It'll be a direct kick for the Connecticut team, and the foul called on Eric Sickerell. And the Comrie and Sickerell have been having battles all day. This time Comrie goes down. No yellow card, but there's going to be a direct kick, and the clock is still running as it takes a little while for the ball to come from out of bounds, and there's going to be a two-man front line, and Comrie's going to start the ball in the play. Huskies hoping to chip it right in front of the goal to see what they could do with it. Comrie getting set to check in. Brian Babini taking one of the two men up front with Eric Sickerell. Shot goes over everybody and everything, and it'll be a goal kick for Cal Berkeley as Comrie did not chip it in front. Instead, tried to put it in the net himself and could not do so. Comrie with the only score of the game so far, his sixth of the season on a penalty kick. And that's where we stand, 1-0. And other than that, we'd have a scoreless game, even though the Huskies are starting to take control. Comrie now with a header over Graciano Cornolo, knocked away nicely by Ron Hansen. It goes over the touchline, and the Huskies will have a throw-in. Well, it's going to be last touched by Cornolo, and Cal Berkeley will have the throw-in. And Roger Verde is now looking to race with the ball with Eric Sicaro. Goes out of bounds, and Connecticut with the throw-in. Taking it will be Vernes. Vernes sends it over into Charlie McSpirit. McSpirit upfield for Vernes again, and Vernes having some problems trying to get around one Cal Berkeley player. And that player is Pete Littman. A whistle on the play, and Littman's getting called for a push. And they got a tripping call, and it's going to be a Connecticut direct kick. 19:58 to go in the first half, and with the sagging defense of Cal Berkeley in their 4-4-2 alignment, Huskies having problems getting on the board, and Brian Stevens is sending a pass upfield. They'll make that John Brubacher sending a pass upfield. No one there. Charlie McSpirit now getting a foot on the ball, but he sends it right to the foot of Eric Kapelke, and Kapelke right around midfield sending a cross-field pass for another teammate, and the ball is loose, not controlled by anybody, and the Huskies will gather it up, and again, Stevenson takes control of the ball. Stevenson over to McSpirit. McSpirit all the way back to Falk, and Falk gets it back over to Stevenson, and the Huskies will bring it back the other way. This is Billy Maroney sending a chip into the Cal Berkeley zone, headed away nicely by Ron Hansen. A couple Huskies were there, but they could not get to the ball. This is Kapelke controlling it for Cal Berkeley, and he sends it upfield for Pete Littman, but he is tripped on the play by Stevenson, who took him down on an attempt to make a sliding tackle on the ball, but he got too much of the player Littman, and Littman went down and a foul called. Clock running, and Cal Berkeley with the ball at midfield and a direct kick. Pass, send it to Kapelke. Kapelke sends it right to the chest of Madison. Madison kicks it back to a teammate. I believe it's Brian Babini. Shot sent it, and it's an easy save by Jim Renahan. As Renahan is still controlling the ball, and he's going to send a pass or a kick up towards midfield for Tom Thompson. But Thompson pushed from behind by Gustafson, and Connecticut will control the ball on a free kick from about 45 yards out.
No, Harold, every game that Cal Berkeley has played, there's not been more than 3 goals scored. Where they won 2-1, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, and 2-1. They lost 0-1 to UCal Davis. It's pretty indicative of the way that this game is going. No team really has had many chances to score. The sagging defense by Cal Berkeley has not allowed many shots by the Huskies. And their offense, they really haven't shown much offense throughout the year, and they're not showing much today.
That's for sure. McSpirit sends it in on a throw-in for Carlos Carlos. He's in the penalty area in the right corner, and he's being bothered by one Cal Berkeley player. Sends it up to Charlie McSpirit. McSpirit fell on the play, and coming right with it is Mark Thompson of the Golden Bears. Thompson sending a pass to Teal Madison. Madison up front for teammate Brian Babini. Babini trying to get around John Brubacher. Sends it back to Madison. Madison now trying to get a pass up front, and he does so. A shot on goal, but it's saved by Renahan. And I believe that shot was taken by Tony Burke.
Renahan saw him coming, came out the goal, cut down the angle, and he had no choice but to kick it really right at him.
And it was Tony Burke who came up to make the play on the pass from Teal Madison and Brian Babini.
Nice acting job by Tom Thompson on that one. Tripped up from behind. Made sure he got the call.
And the clock running, time running out for the Golden Bears. 17 minutes and 7 seconds to go. Renahan making a beautiful play, as you did say, Jeff, on that last one. Connecticut controlling the ball. This is Elvis Comrie over to Graciano Cornolo. Cornolo sending it up for Tom Thompson, but Thompson pushed from behind, and Cal Berkeley comes away with the ball. Teal Madison controlling it. Madison over to teammate Pete Littman. Littman sending upfield for 2 streaking players, and Roger Vernes takes a spill, and they're going to call a push on Vernes. And Cal Berkeley's going to have the direct kick, and Carlos talking to the referee. Now they're going to call it the other way, and Carlos happy about that one. One referee signaled one way, and the other one called the push the other way, and Connecticut has control of the ball. And a very good play by the second referee, as definitely Vernes did take the spill on that play.
He got run down from behind. I don't see how that first referee could have called the ball for Cal Berkeley, but the second one had enough in him to change the first call.
And we have a timeout as Pete Littman's talking to the referee, maybe about that last play, maybe about a play following that we did not notice. But now the play is going to be resumed. Clock starts, and a direct kick for the Huskies. Carlos sending in for Graciano Cornolo. It goes over Cornolo's head, and Dave Gustafson's going to let it go over the goal line. And it will be a goal kick had by the Golden Bears. And we have some substitutes coming into the game. Jeff.
Jim Lyman coming in along with Brian Stevenson. Looks like Eric Myron and Pedro DeBrito coming in.
And it seems like the referees here on the West Coast have a different way of sending in substitutes. One can't come in until the other one comes off the field or nearly off the field, as Huskies waiting till the player that they're going to take the position of to see that they're motioning to get him off the field. And then they take the place of that player. 15 minutes, 33 seconds to go here. The clock is running. That's how much time is left in the game. Cal Berkeley making one substitution. Checking out is Pete Littman. And we did not notice who did check into the game. But Huskies with a deep bench trying to tire out the Cal Berkeley Golden Bears. They've only managed to score one goal, and that was on a penalty kick. And other than that, this game would have been a scoreless game. And so we've only seen 2 penalty kicks this year. One last game versus Bridgeport. Last game versus Bridgeport when see who put that ball in the net for him. Jimmy Lyman was cut down in the penalty area, and he took the shot and put it in the net. And now Elvis Comrie taking today's penalty kick and putting it also in the net, and the Huskies have the 1-0 lead. Now they have the ball on the throw-in. Comrie throws it into Billy Maroney. Maroney getting run off the ball by Dan Martin. A few pushes and shoves, but the Huskies come away with it. And Roger Vernes he's going to send it all the way back to Jimmy Lyman. Huskies not going into the stall again. I'm sure they'd like to score a couple more goals. This is Eddie Lynch. Lynch almost having the ball stolen by Thompson, but he gets the ball away, and Jimmy Lyman comes up with it. Lyman boots it up in the air for Eddie Lynch. Lynch gets the header and right down to Pedro DeBrito. DeBrito sending it up for Jimmy Lyman, but Lyman wasn't breaking on the play, and there's no one there but a Cal Berkeley player to gather it in, and that's Ron Hansen. Hansen sends it up to Eric Kapelke. Kapelke up to teammate Mark DiGiovanni. DiGiovanni just checked in that last play, and here's Elvis Comrie taking a shot on goals. He steals the ball, but he's too far away to do any damage, and Henry Folk makes the easy save. Folk kicking the ball deep downfield. A whistle on the play, and let's see what they're going to call. A push, I believe, on Cal Berkeley, and it's going to be a Huskies direct kick, and time running out. 13 minutes, 55 seconds to go. We'd like to remind you our next broadcast will be tomorrow night at 6:55 when the Huskies women's soccer team will be facing Springfield. And you can hear that on the Sound Alternative. Our next soccer broadcast will be this Friday when the Huskies will be playing the number 1 team in the country, the San Francisco Dons. That's the number 1 team in the country 1 year ago.
Right.
And this year, of course, the Huskies are the number 1 team in the country. So that should be a very interesting match. That game will be played at Kezar Stadium in San Francisco, and that will be set for airtime at 6:55 also. And our next football broadcast will be this weekend, right after the sports page. Sports page starts at 1, and after that, Connecticut football, the Huskies will be playing against the New Hampshire Wildcats. That's a home game, Parents' Day weekend, and our last football game after that.
Mark Del Rey coming in for Cal Berkeley. Oh, now Jim Lyman sets the shot.
And Henry Folk makes the save. It was a beautiful play by Lyman, but Folk was there again, and Folk with that 6'6" frame, it seems to be everywhere in the goal. And they say that for a goalie of his size, they should make the goals just a little bit wider, just so they could equal out the 2 teams. But Folk seemed to be everywhere, and he has made every save of every shot that came to him except for 1 penalty kick. And that's how come the Huskies lead 1-0. And as I was going to say, the last game of this West Coast trip will be this Sunday at airtime 3:55 when the Huskies will be playing Stanford. And that game will be played in Stanford's home field. And right now the ball is headed around in front of the Husky goal. And coming away with it is Teal Madison. Madison trying to keep the ball in play. Madison now losing it, and it's going to go back over to a teammate, and that's going to be Mark Robeson. So Cal Berkeley team trying to get the ball in the net, having some problems. It goes over the touchline, last touch by Cal Berkeley, and Dave Gustafson not liking that call one bit, yells to the referee, and I believe the referee's going to stop play, and he's going to go talk to Mr. Gustafson. And let's see what he's going to say to him. 12 minutes and 2 seconds left. He's telling him to settle down and quit yelling and swearing before he gets a nice little yellow card. And sending the ball to play is Eddie Lynch. Lynch sends it in to Elvis Comrie. Comrie being pushed from behind, but he still controls the ball. Comrie now almost has the ball stolen. He does so, but it's kicked back to Jimmy Lyman. Lyman sends it up to Carlos. Carlos sort of back pass over for Eric Myron, but coming up with is Dan Martin. The ball is kicked all the way down the field. It goes over the goal line, last touched by, I believe, Connecticut, and we're going to have a goal kick. Time running down to 11 minutes and 34 seconds to go here in the contest. Harold Darak along with Jeff Hood, and we've seen not as exciting match as the Huskies have had in the past. Matter of fact, this is the lowest scoring game the Huskies have had so far this season. Most of their games have been by 3-1 scores. Other than that, they've scored 2 against Vermont, 9 against Bridgeport last game. This is definitely not games similar to the one that we saw at Gardner Dow on Sunday. And this time, not many goals scored at all. Comrie gets a shot off, wide to the right, as he had a nice pass in from Pedro DeBrito. And another goal kick for the Golden Bears. Huskies with a lot of shot opportunities, but not many going in the net. We have not heard much from Graziano Cornolo today. And he's right now sitting on the bench and getting set to check back into the game. Cornolo not having a very good game. Eric Meyer not playing that well, either. But the Huskies as a whole really not playing the teamwork they have been playing in the past. And the second half is a lot better than the first half, but still the Huskies only scoring one goal. We have a holding violation on Connecticut, and it'll be a direct kick from about 50 yards out. And taking will be Eric Kapelke, as he is in the Connecticut zone. Kapelke with a lobber in front and headed up in the air by Lyman. Headed up now this time by Carlos. A shot on goal, and a nice save by Renahan. And that's a goal-saving, a play-saving goal as Eric Sigerall got the ball settled right to his foot, and he blasted one to Renahan's right, and Renahan dove for it, made the play. Now another sloppy play. Delaware almost stealing the ball from a Husky and going right past Renahan, but Renahan again alertly coming out. And this is one of Jimmy's best games to date, as he has made the plays he has had to make to keep it a shutout. Even though Cal Berkeley not putting a lot of pressure on the Husky goalie, when they have put the pressure on him, he has been awake and alert and very aggressive coming out of the goal and making the plays. And so right now he has earned the shutout so far. If the defense could hold up for the last 9 minutes and 36 seconds, the Huskies will come away with their 8th straight victory of the season.
Sickrow really blasted that shot from about 30 yards out, low and to the right of Jimmy Renahan. He went out and dove to his right, made a great play. Great save that would have amounted to a goal for Cal Berkeley had he not come up with it.
Connecticut controlling the ball. Charlie McSpirit sending it back to Jimmy Renahan. The Huskies not going to the stall at all, which we saw for the last 30 minutes of the University of Bridgeport game, but that was a totally different thing than this. And we almost have a break on the play. Eric Myron looking to get the ball up front, but no Husky there to gather it in, and it goes all the way back to Henry Falk. But the Huskies really, the last game versus UB, settling it down for 30 minutes playing keep away, so they wouldn't run up the score to double digits. Right now, the Huskies having problems just getting a second goal on the board. Eric Kapelke controlling it. Pass on the left side for Mark Robeson. Robeson sending it upfield, but it's stolen nicely by Eddie Lynch. And Lynch gives it over to Lyman. Lyman up to Pedro DeBrito. DeBrito making a nice move around Eric Kapelke, coming towards the middle of the field. And DeBrito still controlling it, but it's stolen, stripped nicely by Ron Hansen the other way. Hansen loses it to Carlos. Carlos, and Connecticut brings it back again. Pedro DeBrito off his chest to Carlos. Carlos shot wide to the left. And so there's going to be a couple of substitutes. It's Bill Maroney, John Brubacher, Graziano Cornell, and Tim Maisley checking the game for Roger Vernes, Eddie Lynch, Tom Thompson, and Elvis Comrie. Clock still running. A goal kick for the Golden Bears with 8 minutes and 12 seconds to go. We'd like to remind you, immediately following this game, Half the World is Women. Our public affairs show will be on from 6 o'clock to, I believe, 6:30. And hopefully you'll stay tuned for that. And right now it's Eric Kapelke sending it deep into the Husky zone for teammate Mark Delaray. Delaray trying to get around Myron. He does so, but Myron quickly and alertly kicks the ball away and sending it back upfield the other way. This is Eric Sickerill. Sickerill controlling it, lobbing it up in front, looking for the header is Babini. Babini to the right side just misses the goal as Renahan coming out of the goal to cut down the angle had some problems as it went all the way to the right.
Had he had to come up with that one, Harold, he would have. Babini had a nice header over to the right side of the goal, but Jimmy was right there watching it all the way, saw that it was going to go out of bounds, and just let it go.
And this is, I believe, Mark Delaware coming back the other way to Babini again. Babini breaking in the penalty area, but Brubacher right there. And Babini just gets it off the side of his foot and goes over the goal line, but that's like 3 plays in a row. Well, if the Huskies don't settle down and start playing some defense, we're going to see that mistake that the Golden Bears are waiting for, and we're going to see a tie ball game. So the Huskies are going to have to be very careful. Sorry about that, Jeff. Go ahead.
Huskies going to have to keep an eye on Babini. He's very fast, and he's shown that he's been able to sneak in there pretty well. And now here's number 14, Mark Delaray, trying to sneak in on Renahan, but Renahan comes up with the ball, and he throws it out to the left side of the field, headed for Eric Myron.
And coming up instead will be Pedro DeBrito. DeBrito back to Myron. Myron sending it upfield where it's knocked away by Eric Sickero and controlled by California Berkeley. This is Kapelke. Kapelke right around the 40-yard line, sending it past midfield into the Connecticut zone. The right side over to Mark Delaware. Delaware being fouled on the play by Eric Myron, and we're going to see a direct kick about 40 yards out. Clock running down to 6 minutes and 23 seconds, and we've had about 200 to 300 fans here today. A beautiful, gorgeous day. We still have yet to see a cloud in the sky. And here at Berkeley, California, we are going to get a yellow card for Eric Myron, who tripped Mark Delaray on the play. So we've seen a few yellow cards today. Myron had one, Conway had one, and I believe the last man was Eric Sicaro for the Cal Berkeley team that one. So I think we had 3 yellow cards, and we had a few warnings on the Cal Berkeley players. Here's a shot right in front. It's headed away by Bill Maroney. It's right in front of the goal, and looking for it is a Connecticut player and a Cal Berkeley player, and I believe Kieran Coffey gets there first, kicks it off the Cal Berkeley player's foot, and it goes out of bounds, and Connecticut will have a throw-in. And Kieran Coffey just checking into the game a few minutes ago, making a very nice play, and Charlie McSpirit getting set to take the throw-in. The referee or the linesman telling him to move back just a little bit so he could make the play where the ball went out of bounds, and he sends it up for Bill Maroney. Maroney gets a head on it. Mark Robeson comes up with the ball, but Carlos takes it away and comes back the other way. Carlos trying to get it up for Pedro DeBrito as it knocked out of bounds by Kapelke right in front of the scores table. And it'll be a throw-in for Connecticut with 5 minutes and 36 seconds to go here in the first half. McSpirit sending it upfield. DeBrito gathering it around the 15-yard line. Coming around now, trying to get around Robeson. He gets right to the rim line. It's kicked off Robeson's foot, and we're going to see a corner kick for the Connecticut Huskies, and they're going to try to put this ball into play.
Huskies only had 1 corner kick in the whole first half, but I guess this would be about their 5th, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, so they had about 3 in a 1 minute span, and that's a very good guess. I would guess myself would be around 5, and we'll see if DeBrito's probably the best when it comes to corner kicks, bringing it right around the. A nice centering pass right up front. This time he's going to lob it in front. Looking for the header is Maroney, but it's headed away by a Cal Berkeley player. Lyman keeps it in, and looking for it is Bill Maroney on the left side. Maroney tries to bicycle kick it, and it comes right to Eric Myron. Myron fighting with a few players, but Cal Berkeley comes away with the ball, and the Huskies' offensive thrust is thwarted. And Delaware trying to race and save the ball before we get a touchline. No good, and the Huskies will have a throw in and bring it back the other way. Right now, with about 4.5 minutes to go in the game, the Huskies are going to have to put a lot of pressure on the goalie, Henry Folk, and maybe go to a corner stall. They have a 1-goal lead, 1-0 on Elvis Conway's penalty kick with the 29-minute, 45-second mark in the first half. Other than that, there's been no offense really for either team putting the ball in the net, even though the Huskies have outshot the Golden Bears, and they've probably outplayed them here in the second half. They have not gotten the ball in there on some spectacular goalkeeping by Henry Folk and Jim Renahan for their teams respectively. And right now, Teal Madison had the ball for a moment. There was a whistle on the play and a hold by the Huskies. Clock running down. That hold was
Carlos.
It was Carlos. Carlos gives them a direct kick and send it into the penalty area. Quickly, the Huskies get it out. And Carlos taking it and getting around Tony Burke. And the pass goes over to Graciano Cornolo. Cornolo goes to the other side of the field for Jimmy Lyman. Lyman to the right side of Pedro DeBrito, but the AstroTurf gets Lyman's pass and just throws it right out of the off the field as DeBrito just couldn't race and get there in time. Goes over the touchline and a throw in for Mark Robeson. Robeson in for teammate Brian Babini, the leading scorer. Babini is fighting for it with Kieran Coffey. Babini pushing from behind. It goes out of bounds off Babini's foot. No call on that, but instead it'll be a throw in, and the ball is bouncing around loose. They still can't get a ball in play. Finally, they do so. And they're wasting time right now. And
just a little over 3 minutes left. Cal Berkeley doing a lot of standing around. I think the team is tired. And here comes Pedro DeBrito up the middle of the field with the ball stripped away. Now here's Kieran Coffey.
And settling back for it is Carlos. Carlos upfield for Graciano Cornolo. Cornolo trying to get around one Cal Berkeley player, sending it up for Kieran Coffey. And again, the AstroTurf doing a job on his pass. It goes over the touchline. And another throw-in for Cal Berkeley, and there's not a ball available for Cal Berkeley to get the ball into play very quickly. So if the Huskies are smart, they'll just start kicking the ball over the touchline about 3 or 4 rows up the stadium stands, and by the time they get the ball into play, it'll be 10 or 15 seconds will be wasted each time. Here's John Brubaker in the steal. He goes to the right side for Billy Maroney, but getting there first will be Dave Gustafson. Gustafson sending it upfield. A couple of players collide, and coming up with it will be John Brubaker, but a dangerous play will be called on Brubaker, even though it's a very nice play. And a few pushes and shoves between Brubaker and Babini. 2 minutes and 14 seconds to go in the game. A direct kick about 50 yards out by Eric Kapelke, and the Huskies sending all of their defense back into the zone as Cal Berkeley's fans are starting to come alive here with about 2 minutes to go. And the pass is sent in. Carlos gets a head on it, head by Mark Robeson. Ball loose up in front, and it goes past a couple of Huskies, but DeBrito sends it back for a Renahan, but Renahan was near, goes over the touchline, or the goal line, and it'll be a corner kick, the first of the game for the Cal Berkeley team, and the Huskies cannot fall apart here. Eric Swallow, assistant coach of the University of Connecticut soccer team, right now ranked #1 in the country. Just getting off a very tough 1-0 win over the University of California at Berkeley. And you had some problems in the first half. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, we did. We had a great deal of difficulty moving the ball today, it seemed. And a lot of trouble with our attack, specifically with our forwards. Our forwards were stagnating with the ball. We'd bring the ball forward continually into the corners, which we like to attack, which I think is pretty obvious. But we were stagnating. There was no movement off the ball, or no one was making a run inside the box. So we'd bring the ball to the corner and we'd stagnate. We'd have no place to go with the ball. Or instead, we should have possibly brought the ball out and brought it across in what we play a horseshoe. But it seemed that mentally, that was another factor today. I thought mentally our concentration was very poor. We did not play smart today. Did not play too smart today. I got to give Cal Berkeley credit. They played, hard-nosed, physical soccer, which can be effective against us at times. And they countered well with the ball. But again, I felt that mentally we were making mistakes that UConn does not usually make. I thought that overall this match was probably the least productive, you could say, thus far we've had this season.
Now, coming into halftime, you were still up 1-0, and you weren't playing too well. But coming out of into the second half, you were pretty fired up. What did Coach Maroney say during halftime?
Basically, it was more related to individual play. He was upset with individuals, the way they were playing. He felt that they weren't playing up to their capabilities in relation to their physical dimension, and I tended to agree. I thought that individually we were making mistakes holding the ball. I thought specifically we were holding the ball too much without moving it. Like we like to play a lot of 1 and 2 touch, so we're constantly moving the ball, which is constantly throwing the balance of the defense off. And we weren't doing that today. We would stagnate with the ball. One individual would hold the ball too long, and we'd stagnate. And people around him would just watch him with the ball. And that's something that we worked on quite a bit, and that was one of the factors that he went over at halftime. He felt that we were stagnating with the ball too much, holding the ball too much. And again, we were attacking stupid. We were attacked as the center of the field, which is our strength is going on the wings. We have 2 strong wingers. A lot of depth in the wing support, in the wing position, and that was what we weren't doing. We weren't attacking with width, and we weren't moving the ball effectively at all today.
Okay, now we'll get to the San Francisco game. Of course, that's...
I think also, I want to elaborate. I think that there are a lot of intricate factors. I just don't want to make it sound like we played so poorly. We won the match, and I think we should be happy with that. I think that the factors included that we played on an extremely hot turf. It was about, the sun, I say, was in the 80s. It was hot 80s today, and the sun was intense on the turf. And a lot of our players had difficulty with blisters, which a couple players have right now. And the turf, the factor of maybe jet lag, I felt pretty good. I don't think anybody that I talked to felt that extremely tired. I was up at 6:30 this morning. I thought it was 9:30 in the morning, So I went out running at 6 o'clock in the morning this morning.
You're nuts.
Yeah.
Getting back to hopefully bigger and better things. You're playing University of San Francisco, #1 team in the nation. 1 year ago, you're playing at Kezar Stadium, a very big stadium where the 49ers used to play.
Yeah.
A lot of factors in this one. A grudge match from a couple years ago. What do you think we're going to do against the Dons?
Mentally, I don't think there's any question we're going to be prepared to play the match. And I think that in itself is going to increase our level of physical play. I think that it's going to be a hard physical match. I mean, San Francisco, didn't learn to play soccer in the AYSO. I mean, they have a little bit of international flavor in some key positions,
In all of their positions.
In all of their positions, I guess. But they're going to be tough. I mean, they must have been here today. I'm sure Nogoesco was here today looking at us play. And maybe in one respect it was good that we played at this level, because I'm sure, Harold, you could tell from where you were today that we did not play up to our potential today. So I think that San Francisco in itself, I think that's the key match of this trip that we came out here for. And I think we'll be prepared for that match. I think we'll play the way UConn's capable of playing in the next match. I just feel it. I think today we lagged. I guess there's a word to put. We lagged today. We didn't.
UConn lag.
UConn lag today. I guess you could phrase it as. But the San Francisco match, that in itself, playing at Kezar Stadium, which I think will be turf, AstroTurf. I'm not sure. Is it not?
No, it's grass.
Oh, it's grass. Because I remember when the 49ers played there, it used to be turf. But that'll be to our benefit, I think. What we know about San Francisco is they've got a few strong players. This guy Tronstadt, who's extremely strong in the middle of the field. And their goalkeeping, they rotate their goalkeepers on a one-to-one basis. A goalkeeper could play. We don't know who's going to play that game. It's supposedly the game that we saw on ESPN. Their goalkeeper, who's extremely tall, and Coach was impressed with his technical proficiency. He was very impressed with his skills with the ball. And he had a decent match. Even though they lost, I heard that they played extremely well, and it was a hard physical match. I expect it to be a very close game. I don't expect either team to thoroughly dominate the match. I think we are capable of, and we probably might get the better of the play in ball possession. But then again, I think it's going to be a two-way match. Both teams are skilled, high-level players. Can't get much higher than this in college ball, so it should be a tough match.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach, and good luck for the rest of this trip and the rest of the season.
Thank you.